Welcome, everybody, to episode 4. Again, this is the Model Mindset. I am John. This is my boy, Brian. And today we are talking about time. Time is something that Brian and I kind of have been trying to craft and to perfect in our own lives. We are strategizing ways to use our time wisely. We are making efforts to make sure that our days are stacked properly and that they are efficient. In order to, capitalize on every minute of our day. So BG, how's it going, man, today? How you doing?
I'm doing phenomenal, man. I'm pretty excited about this topic. I think the common excuse that people normally have, and including myself, you either don't follow your dreams or you maybe don't prioritize your health. The most common excuse is due to a lack of time. So I think it's only fitting that we talk about how we structure our days, how we value time, how we look at time in blocks throughout the day. And I think, since we learned from Jim Quick, Ed Mylett, Tony Robbins, the GOAT, and Aubrey Marcus, we took something from each one of them and have applied it to our life. And it's made a significant difference in just our production. So I think it's fitting to talk about that.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And it's something that, for you and I think lately, with the more we've been adding onto our plates and kind of the new things that are happening in our lives, we had to do this. We heard a lot about it. We read a lot about it. We listened to a lot about it. And it was something that, I know you've been doing for a little while. You've been organizing, starting with work, kind of getting your stuff, squared away there. And then you kind of moved it over to your personal life. And I think you said something along the lines of since like May or something like that, you've been doing it as like a total day-to-day, not just work, but, encompassing your entire life, right? But, man, things got busy quick, and which is great, and that was by design. And I think the more we have been learning about it, from Myletts and the Quicks of the world, we're trying to, see what works for us because it's not just a common blueprint, but we knew we had to do something. And our routines are a little different, but at the same time, we're doing the same things.
The greatest thing about how we structure time is it prevents you from feeling overwhelmed. And I think that is something huge that people tend to get overwhelmed because it's all in their minds. They don't actually have their day thought out, whether it be hour by hour or just like listing a priority and kind of having it numbered and then just working from there. I think that I personally don't feel overwhelmed when I have my list and when I have my day organized. It gives me structure. And let me know your thoughts on this because I know we both value family as our number one value. But I believe it also starts with your why. And, from the first show, we talked about our why, which is my wife, my 2 boys. But with structuring your time, your number one priority, our number one priority is our family. So what that allows us to do is that is our number one priority, and we build and structure our time around those 2. Right. And for me personally, I think having a morning routine aligns the day for success. So is your why similar to where like, hey, you prioritize everything around your why?
Yeah, of course. I mean, especially in our case, we have kids. So, I think a why, a significant other or a spouse is enough for a why, right? But then you add kids into the mix too. And you could have multiple whys, but yes, the why in itself is family. Yeah. But you have to understand that they're first. You build around them. But you also are working as hard as you are working and formulating this plan and doing these things to fill your time to better your lives together. Right. So, so you're building around them. They're your priority, but they're also your motivation. They're also the reasons that you are trying to start a new company or you're trying to, start a new diet to get healthy, or you're starting these new adventures in your life. You have to find your why to do those things. And you mentioned the morning routine, right?
Yeah. And the thing too, you're spot on with that too. Like you're getting me excited already and we just kicked it off. But, I think what happens is I still had a morning routine, but I used to kind of just muddle through the day. So I would go to work, come home, hang out with the boys, if you will. And then after the boys go down, maybe get their stuff ready for school. And then I'd watch TV. There was no structure.
Yeah.
Until, and my why has always been around fitness, that my physical fitness will never be an excuse as to why I do not play with my boys. It's not in my cards. It's not even an option. I will fucking play with my kids. My health will never be a reason. That's how passionate I am.
Yep.
And as far as my motivation now to be successful in, I would say my new business ventures is because I want to give that life to my wife and my boys, meaning I don't want to have to take, I don't want to have a certain number of vacation days I have to burn. I don't want someone else determining my worth. It's now in my hands. And so it motivates me because I can see a bright future for my family. And so it's centered around my why, and it's helping me structure my day.
Yeah. So let me ask you this now. When you kind of were saying you were muddling through the day, right?
Yeah.
What was it that made you A, realize that, and B, want to change it?
Probably when I was really having that heavy feeling on my shoulders, when I talked about on episode 1, where I just didn't know what was going on with me. And it wasn't quite depression. It was lack of meaning and purpose. And, I've heard and read that you have more time than you truly do. And Brendon Burchard talks about it too. It's like, if you don't have 30 minutes to dedicate to either exercise and fitness or your goal, like, come on. We all know that we have 30 minutes. Like, look at when we watch a sports game. Like, I watched the Braves today in between work. We can make time for it if we prioritize it and we structure our day accordingly. Right. So for me, it was when I was like, okay, I'm going to do some digging to understand why I'm feeling like this. When I uncovered that it was lack of meaning and purpose, I said, okay, glad I figured that out. Now let's get to point A to point B. And then I started, journaling, and journaling turned into discovering where I could really help people out, becoming more emotionally intelligent, becoming vulnerable, being more vocal about it with my friends. And then I was like, holy shit, I can actually make a business doing this. But I need to create a coaching practice, which is what I'm still doing. I have my business out now, the Extraordinary Man Project, but I still have other goals. Like, I'm still going to making other coaching programs to offer. So it's exciting,
Yeah.
But I think that's when I really was like, all right, I got to get serious about my time.
Yeah. And was it hard to kind of formulate that? I think with journaling, you probably at a point in time were starting to make those lists of like things you needed to accomplish and so on, right?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Which made it easier, because then what would happen is when I would journal in the morning, I would be so focused and so motivated. I would write out exactly what I wanted to accomplish. It would be so specific to that night. And I knew I was working with a block of about 2 hours, because the boys would go down around 7:00. We'd get their stuff ready for school. So I'd be about 7:30 to, I'd say, around 9:30. So that's about 2 hours, because then as soon as that hits, and to be honest, it'd probably be like 9, because I have to read, but it would be then I cut it off. So I knew that I had to be very disciplined in what I was focusing on. And so it helped me realize, like, okay, just breaking out all the steps I needed to do to start a business, where my vision was, where I saw the future. And then I just dissected from there, which really helped me organize my thoughts and my time. But even that quick little glimpse right there, you saw how my mind is with how structured and efficient and disciplined I am with my time.
Yep.
And I think we should go into it. I mean, I think we are so detailed, and people can take this and either apply some of the things that we say, but it just goes to show you how we truly value our time. And then others will also value your time as well.
Yeah, exactly it. And that's, I think, a lot of what Ed Mylett talks about too, is he says that, you have to start realizing how valuable your time is. And when you do that, other people will realize how you're valuing your time, and then they'll value their time with you. Yeah. Right. So, 100%. Ed Mylett will say, treat your time like diamonds, because, diamonds are scarce, and that's why they're so valuable. Don't treat it like something that's common, like a piece of paper, because anyone can get that. So that's kind of, that's where you kind of figure out, if you're valuing your time, everyone else will they not only value your time, but they'll value their own time, hopefully too. Hopefully it's like an influential thing where they can see that, right? But you have to find why. Go ahead.
Sorry, I just totally cut you off. Sorry.
No, you're good.
I was going to say, so before you started really, like your eyes kind of opening up to the value of time, what was your day normally like?
Before I started scheduling everything and kind of writing everything down. Yeah, it was kind of like yours, right? It was always centered around the kids. So you would just fit the things in between when you were doing stuff for the kids. So you wake up in the morning started with just getting them ready. That was my focus. If I can get them ready for bed, for school, then, that's my morning. I'll get myself ready. I'll go to work. Once I'm done with work, I'll work out. Then it's back to the kids again, right? Getting them fed, getting them bathed, getting them ready for bed, and then you're doing the whole routine over again. So the only time that I was making for myself in a lot of ways was just getting my workout in.
Did you find that, because it kind of sounds a little or similar to me too, where it's almost like rinse and repeat, where you weren't really looking forward to Monday through Friday because it was just the same thing. But now do you have some sort of like fire because it's like, hey, shit, I'm working towards something, a bright future?
Exactly. And that's what it was. And this is where I think maybe a lot of people might not be able to relate, because in a situation like you and I, for example, right, we're starting something new here. We're working on, both individual projects, but also collaborating on, a lot of things too. So we have these passions that are driving our day now. So those moments that we would sit down before and, like you said, turn on a game or whatever it may be, we're using that time more wisely. And, in my case, I'm waking up earlier now so I can create more time in my day. I'm doing a lot of the things that I wouldn't do before because I wasn't passionate about anything in the middle of my day, right? As far as for me, for the kids and stuff. Yeah. But like for me, it wasn't, you know what I mean? Yeah. It was just taking care of the kids and that's it. So I think what we have to do now is I think go into a little bit of what our, routines are for the day. Maybe even talk about like, okay, what did we write down today? You know what I mean? Yeah. What was it that we had down on our boards today or on our paper that we talked about? What is it that, to give the listeners a little bit of a look into just how structured we are, because we do it a little bit differently, right?
Yeah, for sure. And honestly, too, I'm gonna be very detailed. So I'm gonna preface this. I'm gonna be very detailed, but it's specific because I'm crafting a positive mindset, and I'm super efficient. So take this with a grain of salt. So here we go, John. I'm gonna start firing off. If you have any questions at me, throw it at me. All right, let's do it, man. Here we go. So it all starts for me on Sunday. Okay, or the night before, if you will. Mm-hmm. So I will typically meal prep, and I do a bunch of roasted veggies, and I do some brown rice or something, have that in the fridge ready to go. Again, night before, we get the boys' stuff ready, breakfast, lunch, all that stuff ready for daycare. Don't have to worry about it. I'll also make my oatmeal as well, so that in the morning, I don't have steel cut, baby.
Steel cut, baby.
Yep. And even with those, blueberries, apples, banana, cinnamon, and then
and that's the same every day. Like,
every day.
Are you eating the same thing every day too? Is that pretty much how detailed you are with it, or?
Yeah. I mean, I'm a little like I'm a creature of habit. I'm not super picky when it comes to food, if you will. Mm-hmm. So I have the same thing, breakfast and lunch every single day.
Gotcha. Okay.
So then in the morning, I wake up at 5 a.m. Okay, I'm going to say that again, 5 a.m. For the love of God, start waking up early. I'm telling you, when you wake up later on, or you wake up to your kids or something, you're already playing catch up. I wake up at 5 a.m. and I get up out of bed. I don't look at my phone. I do not look at my phone. I have a picture of my two boys right next to my nightstand. And I look at those boys every single morning to start my mind off on a great note, because I'm like, that's what I'm doing for. And I say in my head, today's going to be a great day. And I know some people are like, what, are you crazy? But we have these automatic negative thoughts that normally take over our minds. Sometimes it starts as soon as you wake up. And I am wired, and I wired my mind, to not say that. I say, today's going to be a great day. And I'm going to tell you something right now. It fucking works. It works.
Oh, yeah.
But you got to be disciplined about it. So I do it every morning, dude. Every morning.
Yep.
Oh, one thing I didn't touch on is I also put out my gym clothes the night before. So when I wake up from the alarm, I go in, put my gym clothes on, brush my teeth, contacts, face, deodorant, good to go. Go downstairs. Okay. At this time, it's like 5:15. So again, I'm being very detailed, but you want to set up your morning for success, for real. It's super, super important. I go downstairs. I have my mineral cocktail. Here we go.
All right. Let them know now, because mineral cocktails was something that was, you introduced that to me.
Yeah.
Introduced that to me maybe like a month and a half ago, 2 months ago.
Yeah.
And it was something that I wanted to try. And long story short, wasn't for me. But listen, there are reasons behind it. Google the mineral cocktail for the listeners. Google that shit because it sounds gross, but BG makes it part of his day.
Yeah, every morning I have a mineral cocktail. What it is, it's about 32 ounces of water. You could do 24 ounces of water, a fourth of a teaspoon of Himalayan sea salt, and then a fourth of a lemon. And it's warm water. And I shake that up and I drink it because it wakes your body up, and it's electrolytes. And when I say it wakes your body up, read between the lines, if you know what I'm talking about. It wakes your body up. Give yourself, be close to the bathroom, because it'll take about 15 minutes for it to kick in. And my poor friend found that out the hard way, but I won't name names. I make my pre-workout and my protein shake. Okay. Then we get the boys up for daycare, get them ready, and we go in the car. Now, even in the car, I am very specific because I do a morning prayer with my boys in the car, and then we talk about what we're grateful for. And that's huge. Again, it's all about mindset. Starting off the day with a great mindset because, you know, I do believe in God personally. I know everybody doesn't, but I personally do. And I pray for our, my loved ones and our loved ones. And with being grateful, it teaches my boys to value what they have in their life. So right away, when you're talking about what you have in your life and when you're focusing on, again, what you're grateful for, you're off to a great start. You're building that positive mindset.
Yeah.
Drop the boys. Oops, sorry, do you have a question? No,
man, go ahead.
Okay, sorry. So drop the boys off, daycare. Then I'm at the gym. You know, roughly right now, it's probably, I get to the gym for about 6:45. I'm there till maybe 8. Get back to work, heat up the oatmeal, have my protein shake. Boom. This is where the fun starts. This is where I got it from Dave Ramsey, to where I structure my work day. Now, where Ed Milet comes into place, he structures his day from 6 to 12 is the first block of time. And then 12 to 6 is the second block, then 6 to 12, which is midnight.
Right.
And so this is where John and I will differ, but for work, because I'm in corporate America, I am very specific in how I prioritize my work. So, and I got this from Dave Ramsey. What I'll do is, as soon as I log on, I look to see what meetings I have, okay, and what projects I have. And I will write down everything that I need to accomplish for that day, perhaps sometimes the week. And what I'll do is I'll write that down. Then anything that needs to get done today, I'll put an A. Okay, anything that needs to get done tomorrow, it'll be a B. And then if I have maybe a buffer of like the end of the week, it'll be a C. Now, with all of the A's, I number those, 1 through, say, whatever, 6 or 8. Okay, again, it's on priority. And then my B, it can be 1B. So I'll work 1A first. Okay, and it gives me such structure. So whether it be I need to create a presentation or be ready for a meeting, it gives me that, okay, this is my priority list. I work from here. I don't have to get bogged down by emails coming in, because you know what? That's priority, 4A, if you will. So it just gives me something to like structure my workday. And then I legit, when I'm done with it, I cross it off. And it feels great crossing shit off.
Yeah. So like with that now, are there days obviously that your lists are longer than other days, right? Or you have more A's, you know what I mean? Like you have a lot of A's, not so many B's, not so many C, whatever it may be. But like, So those lists will vary, right?
Yes.
But also you will have things on that list that will carry over.
Yes.
That your day got away from you, whatever it may be, right? You know, the kids get sick, whatever. Like those things come up.
Right.
So we
totally.
move those things from a Tuesday to a Wednesday, right?
Yeah.
So are there things, what's an acceptable amount of time for you now when you have something on your list that you say, okay, you know, if it's a C or whatever, I got to get this done by here?
Yeah, so that's a good one. If it's a C, I normally give myself about a 4-day buffer. And, you know, I can put something on there so that list can be like mow the lawn. I know you and I talked about this before.
Yeah.
And that was like a C, you know, a 2C, because it's like, I don't have to get it done today. I don't have to get it done tomorrow. But we know in the back of our mind, like, hey, this has got to be done by Friday. Like, we're putting a timetable on it. But all my A's, I do everything to try to knock out the A's that day. Now, of course, things come up where I'm in urgent meetings or urgent issues going on and I can't get to that. It just becomes my 1A tomorrow morning, right?
Yeah.
So then it's like, if I'm carrying over from the other day and it's an A, it will become like 1A. Right. But what's also great too is sometimes we don't think we had a very productive day, or I may not feel like I had a productive day. But then if I look at my list, I crossed out like 5 or 6 items.
Yeah.
It feels great. You know,
it does.
And
it is.
And you could put anything on there. Yeah. And you could put anything on there. I mean, if you just
ask you that next.
If you just started working out, you know, put it on there, worked out, and you cross it off because you're building that habit. You're building that habit.
And that's exactly what it is. That's still on my list. I mean, I've been working out every, 5-6 times a week for 15 years. It's still on my list every day.
Yeah.
Because as I feel like I personally, I want the anchor of my day on my list. Yeah. You know what I mean? So that's where I want it. I want to be able to see it. I want to be able to look forward to it. You and I work out at different times. So, but like you touched on how Ed Milet breaks his days out from 6 to 12, 12 to 6, 6 to 12 in 3 sections.
Yeah.
That's what I'm doing. I'm doing that breakdown of days.
Well, so we just hit my morning. So let's go through your morning too, because again, morning is successful. So let's do that like 6 to 12 block, and then we'll hit that afternoon.
Yeah. So the 6 to 12 block, it's funny, when I make my list, I don't have to erase the first half of my morning list ever. My 6 to 12, the first half of that list will stay the same. I keep it on. It's simple things, but I keep it on there. So it's wake up right away. I write down water. I want to know that I'm consuming water right away in the morning. I have at least a bottle of water in the morning. It's usually 2 bottles before I even get out and to do what I'm going to do next, which is my cardio. So it's water, it's cardio. So while I'm having my water, though, I do my brain exercise.
And I love this. Say what it is, because it's pretty hard, but it's good.
All right, so it is. It's weird, right? So I take a piece of paper and I hold a pen in my left hand and my right hand, and I go down each side of the paper, and I started off the first day by just like drawing shapes or whatever it may be, and I would do that all the way down. I'd have to draw the same shape with my left and right hand simultaneously. Now, what I started to do, man, and I don't think I told you this, was I pretty much write down like just like something to motivate me through the day, right? Like just like a blanket statement that just says like, let's go get the day. Let's attack the day. Let's make today better, right?
So motivate you.
Exactly. But it's one word on each line all the way down till I get to the bottom. That's awesome. It's a 2-3 minute thing, but it stimulates your mind. It's left brain, right brain type of thing. It's working on. Jim Quick talks a lot about this. So I wanted to kind of incorporate that in my morning. I heard a lot about brain exercises, but I wasn't sure how to do that. And I love it. I absolutely love it.
Have you noticed anything from doing that? Like, have you noticed any kind of enhancements?
So what's weird about it is I noticed that when I do that, it instantly gets rid of me being tired. So I'm not a great morning person. Like creating time in the morning was a challenge for me. So like being up at 5 or 5:30 is, you know what I mean? Like making that part of my day was something I had to actively make part of my day. It was something that I had to force myself to do. So But right away when I do that brain exercise now, I feel more awake. So it's almost like your mineral cocktail, right?
Yeah.
Like you're
Yeah.
except it doesn't make you shit. So like,
Touche.
you know what I mean?
Touche.
So,
Yeah, that's good.
but it wakes me up. I feel good. So that
That's
gets me
awesome.
ready for cardio. Cardio wakes me up again. Bang. I wake
Yeah.
up more from cardio at that point, right?
Yeah.
After I'm done my cardio, I stand outside for about 5 minutes because that's just about when the sun's coming up now. Okay. So it's, by the time I'm done with my cardio, the girls are just about waking up now. So I have those last few minutes. And I try to take in some natural light. Okay. I've read and heard about taking in natural light. It alters your circadian rhythms, right?
Yeah.
So it makes you used to being awake in the morning, and it helps kind of adjust your body, your internal clock type of thing. So I'm a big believer in that now too. I feel like I've felt the benefits from doing that. So
That's awesome.
I finish. When I'm making my list in the morning, I always write down my plans. So my 6 to 12, 12 to 6, 6 to 12. But I also write down content that I want to take in for the day. And I write down what I'm thankful for on my board. So generally I'll start my day with the content that I want to listen to. So I listen to that when I'm doing my cardio.
Yeah.
If I can intake new information every day, if it, on average anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour, I'm taking in 7 to 10 hours of new information a week that I didn't know about, that I wasn't taking in before.
Yeah.
When before it would be a sports show or whatever it would be now it's useful information. And so that gives me a sense of fulfillment too, that I'm learning new things and I'm doing it right away in the morning. Right. Yeah. So once I'm done with that, taking my natural light, head into the house, and then it's kind of, you're balancing taking, care of yourself and the kids at the same time, but it's breakfast. It's always, go ahead, man. You got
just
something
a
to say?
quick question. Yeah. So just out of curiosity, do you find that your list for what you're thankful for changes at all?
It changes every day. I make sure it's new every day. Yeah. The only thing I make sure that's consistent on my board, and I check it because I am genuinely thankful for it, is if it's sunny that day, I write down sunshine because I value it. I think it adds an element to my day that the second I see the sun in the day, I'm like, yes, like it's a sunny day. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's like it gives me the energy that I look for. Think about it. You wake up and it's rainy. Yeah. Where'd your mood go? Right. So I don't take it for granted when the sun's out. I'm like, man, like you said, it's almost like it's going to be a great day.
See, that's interesting because, again, this is just kind of like where, people can differ. When I see rain, man, I see rain like, damn, my lawn is going to look great. You know what I mean? Because like I try to like, because we can allow seasons. I mean, you see it coming up.
Seasonal depression is a real thing.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly. And so I'm wiring and programming my brain to always look on the positive, but like I love how your thankfulness will change, because that's where, again, you do want to change it up, because sometimes, even if it's like, I remember I was going through a couple of days where I felt like I was saying the same thing. Of course, there's some ones that you always say what you're thankful for, but I was like, damn, I'm thankful for this daycare ride, with my boys, because Theo saw horses. He saw a couple buses, it was like birds, it was crazy just how the morning, I saw the beauty in nature. So I was thankful for nature, Yeah. So it's cool that your list differs every day.
It does. So the thankful part changes because when I was, thinking about like, okay, should I put it on there? Should I not? Because I wasn't sure like how often I could change it. I was like, well, how much will it really change? Right. Like I'm thankful for my family. I'm thankful for, but I did what you did, and I put very specific things. So for example, I discovered a new, like sleep sound at night to help with my sleep.
That's fucking great.
And when I did it for the first night and I had an amazing night's sleep, I put it up there right away the next morning. I am thankful for my new sleep sound because it's changed the way I'm sleeping now. And I've been playing it for 5-6 days now, man, I sleep great. I'm a notorious bad sleeper, and I've been sleeping great. So I put that on there. I put it on there when Mallory got her second COVID shot. I'm thankful that she was able to do that. That it gives me a sense of, I feel she's safe, or more safe than she would be if she didn't have it. Right.
Right.
When they had a bad stretch of sleeping, and they were up a lot, and it was affecting their day because they were tired. And then they had that one night that they slept through the night. And when I was writing on my board that morning, they were still sleeping. I wrote down, I was thankful that they got a full night's rest because I know that it'll recharge their batteries.
Hell yeah.
And I felt thankful for that. So you can be thankful for small things. You can be thankful for a ride to daycare, because guess what? Those rides are awesome. Those rides can be great. I had a conversation about my dad with Mallory last week.
That's awesome.
And she was asking questions about my dad the whole way home. And it was
awesome.
it was incredible. It was awesome. And so I was super thankful for that car ride, right? You know, so you can be thankful for the small things too. And you can make those part of your lists if you choose to do so, right? Yeah. But sure. So I break my days down 6 to 12, 12 to 6, 6 to 12. And it'll vary in between a little bit. The middle of my day will always contain my workout probably. And the end of my day will always contain either something with what you and I are doing, or with studying for my certification. A lot of times I'm fitting that into different parts of my day now, so I'm finding ways to maximize more time. I'm making sure that the middle of my day, I have anchor points, right? So, the workout is one of them. I have to meditate in the middle of the day. So those things are what I have to do. So those will never change. Some things just don't get erased on my board. But awesome. But there's a lot that do. So I think it's super valuable, man. I think when we discover ways and to both multitask, but also remain incredibly focused, you can add so much time to your day. You can buy back so much time from your day.
Yeah. And you just kind of touched on something interesting, because you mentioned multitask, and I think it almost takes away multitasking. Because you're able to focus on something specific on your list to where it's like, hey, I'm focusing on this, because multitasking is actually not efficient, because
not a great thing at all.
Yeah, you're dividing your time, your attention span. So when you have this structure and you have these lists, it allows you to really soak in that moment, really focus on it. Yeah. And I wanted to talk about too is, so I'll normally work, say 8 to 5, if you will. 5 o'clock, no excuses. I'm done working. My manager knows this. My director knows this, because at 5 o'clock, it's family time. I go pick up the boys from daycare and bring them back home. And my buddy, Danny, I got to give him a shout out. He told me something super unique, where he shared me this like PDF thing where it talked about kind of just simple exercises to create more of connection and give your kids more attention. And it was super unique, because he said every day, Monday through Friday, stop whatever you're doing, put down the phone, stop doing the dishes, stop, say, cooking or something, stop watching TV, and just give your undivided attention to your kids.
Yeah. And
at first I was like, 15 minutes, like, dude, that's nothing. But I didn't realize that we're so busy that 15 minutes was actually, I wasn't giving them my full attention.
Right.
So I started off with like 15 minutes, and it sounds super kind of like depressing, but I started almost like timing it, because I wanted to be more aware, and I wanted to give my boys more of a connection and attention.
Yeah.
And man, I'm telling you, like, it just became such a habit that it's more than 15 minutes. Yeah. Where Val and I really give the boys some undivided attention. I mean, think about when your kids say, hey, look at me. Hey, look at me. It's because they're craving that attention.
Yeah.
And I got to give Danny a shout out, because it just brought me really to enjoy that time with my kids, because I know they're going to grow up fast. And it's like, fuck, if we don't have 15 minutes a day to just give our kids our full and undivided attention, like, come on, we're losing a connection with our kids.
Yeah, absolutely. And we talked about a little bit, with how we're jam packing our schedules and our days, right? Yeah. And I asked you a question yesterday when we were talking to each other. And we brought it up last week in our men's group as well.
Yeah.
As far as, am I too focused on time? Am I too focused on, trying to accomplish things I'm trying to accomplish, and I'm neglecting other things? Is that, am I subconsciously not even realizing it, right? Like, am I just kind of just so focused that I don't even see it? And you said you kind of struggled with the same thing a little bit, as far as you weren't sure if you were almost too hyper focused on some stuff, right?
Yeah.
And then we were talking about yesterday, when I said to you, I kind of discovered a weekend for the first time, because I started really structuring my time in the 6 to 12, 12 to 6, 6 to 12 format just last week. So this was like the first weekend that I had to use. Do I use this format? Do I not? Do I kind of freelance a day? Because the weekends are so centered around the kids and kind of, entertaining them and doing the things they want to do, if it's a birthday party, whatever it may be. So like I wasn't as structured on the weekends. Right. So I felt like I wasn't as efficient, and I wasn't as, accomplishing as much productive. Thank you. As I should have been on the weekend. Right. So if you are going to do these things, and if you are going to structure your time the way Brian and I structure our time, you do have to realize those days that you spend with your children or your significant others or your friends is valuable time. It's time 100%. That you need to have, right? Yeah. So if you're someone who values your job and your profession and you work hard, that's awesome. Yeah. But please understand, and I'm just understanding it myself to this very moment, that time with your loved ones is time well spent. Yeah. And you can't push that off your schedule because you want to work on other things. So
yeah, I mean, you're spot on, because you also have to enjoy the journey. Like, we both know that this is probably going to take some time, but it is a journey, and we're putting a lot of pressure on ourselves because we can see a bright future. So when we would go to bed at night, we'd say, did I do enough today? We are very structured and we're accomplishing tasks, but it's like everybody's so used to the quick and now, everything. Yeah. But it's like we have to do these things to set up a bright future. Right. So that's what you and I were talking about, what we're struggling with. And so we both said, hey, the weekend, we really got to enjoy our time with our family so that we can in turn enjoy the journey, which is important.
Yeah, because like you said, it can be a long journey, and listen, most journeys are, because if you're trying to ascend and you're trying to get to the so-called top of the mountain, there is no top of the mountain. Yeah. Because you have to keep progressing. You have to keep learning. You have to keep trying new things. And, so the journey never stops. The journey never ends. So if you can't learn to enjoy it, it's going to be a miserable journey, So there's value in taking breaks. There's value in doing those things, but at the same time, you can't ever lose focus either, though, in my opinion. The focus has to stay the same.
Yeah. I mean, you're spot on. You just alluded to something that's super important. Last week, for example, I normally play soccer every Thursday night, but the challenge is I don't get home till like 10:30, which normally, and I'll quickly touch on my 6 to 12 block time after. Yeah. But Thursday, when I went to soccer, I stayed out till like maybe 10:30, came home, showered, still woke up at 5 a.m, still got my ass to the gym, but I was dragging ass. And so this week I said to myself, I am not going to soccer, and I am working on the Extraordinary Men project today, even if it's just an hour and a half. Yeah, I need to make some sacrifices. And I think anytime when you're chasing a goal, a dream, anything, you do have to make sacrifices along the way. As much as I love soccer, I know that going there is going to probably make me tired, which means my actual full-time job will maybe take a hit. So, and now let me just touch on, because I know we're super fired up and this is taking a long time, so I want to make sure everybody listens. Okay. But now, real important is the 6 to 12 block. And the reason why I want to touch on the 6 to 12 block real quick is that after the boys go down, after we read them a book, and Theo stops screaming for mommy. Shout out to Val, love you. That's when we'll either John and I will prep for a podcast. We'll either have a podcast, or I'll go start doing some Extraordinary Man Project goals and start making some program notes and stuff.
Yeah,
I will normally spend, and I would say it's from around 7:30 to about 9:00. 9:00, shut it off. Mm-hmm. And what I do from there is I go in and I read. I have a daily goal Monday through Friday of reading for at least 10 minutes. 10 minutes.
But it's so funny, man, because people are going to hear 10 minutes. How much are you reading in 10 minutes?
Yeah.
But what the benefits it has for you is off the charts.
Oh, yeah, because it relaxes your mind. Okay. And that's what everybody says. Well, I can't retain anything. It's helping me fall asleep. And that's what I told you when you're like, I can't fall asleep. I said, try to start reading, even if it's 10 minutes, even if it's a page. Start reading, because it relaxes your mind, puts your mind at ease, and you're ready to go to sleep. And we do the same thing with a sound machine. We have a sound machine on as well.
Yep.
And it just puts you at ease, and I have a great night's sleep. And I always try to aim for at least 7 hours of sleep.
And so if you don't hit that threshold, right, because we talk about sleep a lot too, and that'll probably be its own episode. If you don't hit that threshold, how much does that affect your day the next day? I've heard a lot and listened to a lot about like carryover, and when something from one day leads into the next, and it leads into the next, right? There's a domino effect there. How much does that affect you?
I will say that's a good question. I will say that when I play soccer, Friday mornings, I feel it more than the other days, because again, I'm going to bed later and I'm still waking up at 5 a.m.
Yeah.
But I'm so used to it now that I structure my Friday training to do a HIIT workout to wake myself up even more.
Oh, okay.
Rather than just do my strength training. So I'll strength train. Right now, my program is Monday through Thursday. I work out every muscle group twice a week. And then on my Fridays, And then on my Fridays, I do my HIIT workout, because I know I'm going to be dragging ass, and it helps me wake up.
Yep.
And I normally don't have any kind of like lull, around like 2-3 o'clock. I don't hit that.
Yeah.
I don't hit that ever. I'll say that, but I don't hit that even like when I go to sleep later. But
that's impressive to me, man. I still haven't had that time where I haven't hit that lull. Like you just kind of power through it now. When you're structured, you kind of just okay, well, I still have tasks to take care of here, so I can't just sit down and take a nap or whatever it is, right? Like you have things to do. So I haven't mastered that one yet, as far as not hitting a lull in the middle of the day, dude.
With this will be cool when we have our nutrition discussion, because what I have found since I've adopted a plant-based lifestyle, I don't hit the lull. So like I have lunch, like I have a good lunch, it'll be my roasted veggies, my rice, whatever. And I'm good to go, man. Like I don't ever like just start to feel tired or need a nap or anything. Like I have a sustained amount of energy, which is great.
Right. And the only time I really hit it now is when I'm driving. So like I often have longer drives.
True, because you have longer drives, yeah.
So right. So I'm hitting that, and I'm kind of just like, I'm just driving. It makes me a little tired. But by the time, I get something in my system again and I eat, like you said, eating always will elevate me again. And it's like, we're off to the next thing, right? So, looking forward to that conversation next week with April on the whole nutritional side of things here. So, all right, man. So when
I got a question. Since you have placed a greater value on your time, how has that impacted your life?
It's made me feel incredibly accomplished in my days. I have a huge sense of accomplishment at the end of the day. And I think when we were talking about sleep last week or whatever it was, we had a conversation about sleep, you and I, and you asked how I was sleeping. And I told you I was sleeping great because I felt like I was earning my sleep. Like I felt like when I laid in bed, I earned it. So the sense of accomplishment that I'm having from my structured day, and I feel like I'm not overwhelmed. I'm not stressed about things. I'm not much of a stressor at all. But I also have never had this much on my plate before. So, having this structure has eliminated that fear of stress and that worry that I would have. I feel like I'm contributing in many areas of my life. I feel extremely fulfilled. There's so much positive energy in my day because of the way I'm structuring it. So it's helped me immensely. I will never not structure my day again like this. There'll never be a day in my life that I will not have at least some kind of structure. I know some people take days off on certain things, but even if I can put a few things on my board a day, then that's it. So during the week, everyone's week will be different, but it'll probably be a little more busy. But it's completely changed everything about my days. Completely.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
It really has. Do you feel the same way? Like, do you feel like your sense of accomplishment, especially with the EMP and stuff, like, you got to be feeling that way too, because there's a lot going on your side of the world.
Yeah, man. And to be honest with you too, I think with time and the way that we've structured time, we figured out that we can accomplish a lot in a day to get us to where we really want to get to, which is to accomplish our goals. And instead of living in regret, we have found that when you structure your time accordingly to what you prioritize and what you value, you can fit in a lot in your day. And typically when people are, on their deathbed, they're thinking about relationships they've had in their life. So was I a good father? Was I a good husband, son, friend? And how was I of service? And I think right now, because of our priorities and how we structure time, we're marching towards both of those. And when you said sense of fulfillment, that's what we both have, man. And a sense of happiness, which I think a lot of people maybe sometimes don't have.
Yeah. And I think exactly the reason why people may not have that is the thing you said when we started this conversation today. And that was people's reason is that they don't have time. They're too busy. I don't have time to do X, Y, and Z, right? Yeah. You do have time. Yeah. You have the time. You have to make the time. Okay. Yeah. So if that means waking up earlier, then wake up earlier. If that means prioritizing certain things, then prioritize them. If that means cutting out, non-productive time, think about how much non-productive time you have in your day. Get rid of it. Yeah. Alter that mindset. Your mindset has to be about productivity if you want to accomplish things in life. Okay. Yeah. And listen, this isn't we're standing on our soapbox, telling you guys how to live, right? This is what Brian and I have discovered for our own lives. We have discovered that we need to maximize our minutes and we need to make sure that they are productive. And if they're not productive, we've had conversations where we're saying to ourselves and to each other, are you feeling this? Do you feel like you wasted time by doing this or that? Right. And then we'll make sure that in examples like family time and stuff like that, we said you have to have those times. But man, when you take that time out of your day that you're wasting and you switch it with productivity, it is a game changer. And it's changed my life. I know it's changed your life. And it's something that we will continue to do until, that probably our last days on earth, just because I don't think we intend to stop this journey anytime soon. So this is something that we're going to be doing probably for the rest of our lives.
That's right, baby. Excited.
Sure. So, all right, guys, listen, we appreciate you guys listening in. This is episode 4. Thank you guys so much for listening along with us along the way here. You can catch us on Spotify. You can catch us on YouTube. Thank you so much for listening in. This is the Model Mindset, and we'll see you guys next week.
See ya.